I nderuar shkëlqësia juaj zoti Oliver Varhelyi, Komisioneri BE-s për fqinësi dhe zgjerim, I nderuar kryeministër, të nderuar deputet, kabinet qeveritar, të nderuar qytetar të Republikës së Kosovës. E hapi seancën e Kuvendit të Republikës së Kosovës me rastin e adresimit të shkëlqësisë së tij, zotit Oliver Varhelyi, Komisioneri BE-s për fqinësi dhe zgjerim. Me lejoni që fillimisht të ftoj kryetaren e Kuvendit të Republikës së Kosovës, zonjën Vjosa Osmani Sadriu, për një fjalë mirëseardhje. Zonja Osmani, fjala për ju.
Shumë I nderuar Komisioneri I Bashkimit Evropian për fqinësi dhe zgjerim, shkëlqësia juar zoti Oliver Varhelyi, nderuar kabinet qeveritar, nderuar deputet, të dashur qytetar të Republikës së Kosovës, më lejoni që në emër të qytetarëve të Kosovës, përfaqësuesve të zgjedhur të tyre në Kuvendin e Kosovës, t'ju uroj mirëseardhje në Republikën e Kosovës, në vendin e njërit nga qytetrimet më të lashta evropiane, qytetrimin Ilir, në vendin e popullit tek I cili flamuri I pro-evropianizmit valvitet më së larti në kontinentin e vjetër. Prania juaj sot këtu, në cilësinë e përfaqësuesit të Bashkimit Evropian, është dëshmi e ruajtjes së këtyre lidhjeve të hershme kulturore, politike dhe qytetruese mes civilizimeve tona dhe aleancës së fuqishme mes popujve të Evropës, e cila zëfill qysh në antikën e hershme e është ruajtur e forcuar në mesjet dhe pastaj është mbrojtur edhe në kohët tona. Pra ju sot jeni në vendin ku gjenden rrënjët e hershme të qytetrimit evropian. Sot ne evropianët e vjetër jemi të përkushtuar më shumë se kur që ta ruajmë këtë frymë integruese, duke I njohur vlerat e njëri tjetrit dhe duke I respektuar ato. Jemi të përkushtuar për ta rilidhur këtë fije të zbehur integruese, për shkak të rrethanave historike, por edhe të stërzgjatjes së proceseve politike. Vizita juaj vjen pikërisht në kohën kur diskursi mbi integrimin evropian është rikthyer fuqishëm në vendin ton pas publikimit të raportit për Kosovën nga Komisioni Evropian. Porse, sikur e dini, mjegulla që e ka karakterizuar këtë proces për vite me radhë nuk është larguar ende. Për Republikën tonë, roli I BE-s është I patjetërsueshëm. Antarësimi në Bashkimin Evropian mbetet një ndër prioritetet themelore të Republikës sonë. Njësoj, edhe në procesin e dialogut, roli I Bashkimit Evropian është I rëndësisë së veçantë në bashkëkoordinim me Shtetet e Bashkuara. Ky parlament dhe qytetarët e Kosovës e kanë bërë të qartë se në dialog nuk pranojnë as ndryshim kufish e as defunksionalizim të shtetit ton nëpërmjet ideve që mund të krijojnë edhe një Republika Srpska në rajonin ton. Qytetarët e Republikës së Kosovës po ashtu janë mirënjohës e falenderues për asistencën e vazhdueshme financiare dhe jo vetëm, të cilën e kemi pranuar e vazhdojmë ta pranojmë nga Bashkimi Evropian ndër vite e në veçanti tani në kohë të pandemisë. Ju falenderit në emër të secilit qytetar që ka përfituar nga kjo asistencë. Në të njëjtën mënyrë edhe institucionet e Kosovës janë vetëdijshme që rruga drejt BE-s kërkon përkushtim përtej fjalësh. Kërkon vepra konkrete, koordinim e përpikmëri në zbatim të obligimeve tona. Ne e kuptojmë se procesi I integrimit evropian është një maraton, por edhe maratonat e kanë një fund. Prej një dekade, institucionet e Kosovës jo vetëm që kanë bërë përpjekje për t'i përmbushur kriteret e kërkuara për liberalizim vizash, por I kanë plotësuar që të gjitha, siç e ka përmendur dhe pranuar edhe vetë Komisioni Evropian. Pra, mos liberalizimi vizave nuk I bën nder as vetë Bashkimit Evropian e as shteteve anëtare të këtij unioni. Maratona që e kemi nisur në vitin 2018 duhet ta ketë një epilog. Ne na duhet një maratonomak që jap kumtin, të cilin prej vitesh e presin qytetarët e Kosovës, sepse Kosovës duhet liberalizuar vizat tani. Duke uruar që ju personalisht, por edhe gjitha institucionet tjera të BE-s të angazhohen fuqishëm, sikur edhe I përket pozitës suaj të lartë, që fijet e zbehura në lidhjet mes popujve të ribëhen dhe që mozaiku I qytetrimeve dhe I
In normal circumstances, I would have visited Kosovo well before, but the COVID-19 crisis has come in between. This pandemic is hitting us all, and I know that Kosovo has already paid a heavy price. I would like to assure you that the European Union will continue to do its utmost to support Kosovo in managing this health crisis and in mitigating its economic and social consequences. The European Union has already provided significant emergency medical assistance to Kosovo, and I'm glad to announce that the first payment of the EU's 100 million euros macrofinancial assistance to Kosovo was dispersed in the first days of October this week. This expression of support shows the priority we are giving to the Western Balkans. For the European Commission, there is no doubt the future of the whole region lies within the European Union. And it is therefore our strategic interest to bring you closer to the EU. That's why, from today, and also from the very first day of this Commission, we're working in support of the Western Balkans along 3 tracks. First, we reinforced and renewed the enlargement process through a revised methodology. That was necessary to make the policy more credible for our member states and for the region. On the basis, the decision to open accession negotiations with Albania and North Macedonia was made possible. And we are strongly focused on speeding up the economic convergence of the region with the EU. Through these 3 objectives, we don't just support our partners individually, we work for the whole region, to the benefit of the people and economies. Now our focus is on supporting the longer-term socio-economic recovery and its economic convergence with the EU. There is an enormous gap in terms of economic development between your region and the EU. The faster we close that gap, the faster we start creating resilient, strong, and sustainable market economies, the faster you will be able to join. This week, the Commission has put on the table a large-scale economic and investment plan for the Western Balkans. The plan is designed specifically to boost the long-term recovery through a substantial investment package. This, in turn, will lead to sustained economic growth. It will support the implementation of reforms required to move forward on the EU path and bring the Western Balkans closer to the EU single market. With the plan, we aim to mobilize up to 9 billion euros in grants for funding to support the economic convergence of the region with the EU. The investment package is structured around 10 flagship initiatives in key areas of crucial importance: transport, energy, environment, digital, the private sector, and the youth. These priorities are common. We developed it together with the region, your government included. These priorities were selected as those bringing growth and jobs the fastest, yet long-term, and as the ones that are necessary to turn the region into an attractive investment area. In addition, the investment capacity of the region should be boosted by the mobilization of a new Western Balkans guarantee facility with the ambition to potentially raise investments up to 20 billion euros. In total, this means almost a third of the current GDP of the whole region. which stands around 100 billion euros these days. Investments leverage by this support could potentially increase, according to our conservative calculations, a real growth of GDP of 3.6% for the whole region. The package will allow the region over the next 4 years to emerge stronger from the COVID-19 pandemic and lay the foundations for developing connected, competitive, knowledge-based, sustainable, innovation-oriented and thriving economies in the Western Balkans with increasingly dynamic private sectors. Kosovo is very much be part of this plan, and Kosovo people and businesses will directly benefit from it. In the area of transport, the plan includes notably the Peace Highway, linking Pristina to Niš in Serbia, and the rehabilitation of the railway route connecting Kosovo with North Macedonia and Serbia. In the area of energy, the plan includes North Macedonia-Kosovo gas interconnector, which will contribute to Kosovo's energy diversification and support its transition towards less polluting energy sources. Let me be clear. We urgently need to phase out coal in the region, and switching to gas would have a potential to decreasing emissions as much as by 60% from current levels. In Kosovo, this could be even more. The region needs a diversity of supply, with gas having an important transition role, while pipelines in long term could be used for transporting hydrogen. Finally, in the crucial area of environment, the plan focuses on the construction of wastewater treatment plants in Pristina and on the construction of Iberlepenet's hydro system phase 2. Those major investments will complement existing projects already supported as part of our assistance, such as the environment upgrade of the Kosovo B power plant to tackle air pollution. Beyond that, the plan will provide strong support for SMEs and focus on youth in particular. Through the education system, we need to make sure that their skills match the needs of the labor market. We also need to turn brain drain into brain circulation so that young people can be one of the driving forces of prosperity and stability in Kosovo of the future. With the economic and investment plan, we aim to bring the region closer to the EU and to foster regional cooperation. During the outbreak of the pandemic, the region showed it can work together. With the successful establishment of green lanes within the region, we saw inclusive regional cooperation at its best. This success should inspire the future of regional economic integration. Regional participation, regional impact, regional planning. For the past 6 months, the Western Balkan governments have been engaged in developing a new vision for the regional economic area. I look forward to the leaders of the Western Balkans agreeing an ambitious action plan to develop a common regional market in the Sofia summit due to come on the 10th of November. This is critical to increase the attractiveness and competitiveness of the region and turn it into an attractive investment hub, interesting also for global investors that are looking to reduce the distance to EU markets. Regional economic integration is not a detour on the European path, but a tool to enhance growth, to overcome the COVID-related economic crisis, to modernize the economies in line with the EU priorities and bring them closer to the EU internal market. It is an integral part of the region's EU accession process. However, boosting investment and economic growth in the Western Balkans will only be possible if governments firmly commit to and implement fundamental reforms based on European values. Whether structural economic reforms, strengthening the rule of law, or improving public administrations, these reforms are essential for an environment favorable to entrepreneurship, job creation, and sustainable investments. In this regard, the 2020 enlargement package, which we adopted yesterday, together with the economic and investment plan, provides a detailed overview of the state of play of fundamental reforms and guidance on these reform priorities. These remain at the heart of the EU accession process. These fundamentals remain the essential conditions that need to be met, not only to make a success of the plan, but also to move forward on the EU path. This year's Kosovo report reflected the fact the political context over the last year has been quite volatile, with early elections, 2 changes of government, and on top of the pandemic crisis. Overall, this context has, unfortunately, not been favorable to making bold progress on EU-related reforms in Kosovo. In order to put back focus on reforms, together with Prime Minister Hoti, we have been able to conclude on the next European reform agenda, which we have just announced publicly. This agenda will provide direction for Kosovo as it seeks to further reinforce the rule of law, increase its competitiveness, and ensure a successful economic recovery post-COVID-19. I count on this Assembly to maintain the necessary cross-party consensus on EU-related reforms, which are in Kosovo's strategic interest. This House has a key role to play and a key responsibility to bear. The lifting of the 100% tariff on goods from Serbia and Bosnia and Herzegovina earlier this year was a crucial decision which the EU has welcomed. It has allowed for a restoration in trade with Serbia and Bosnia and Herzegovina, and for the resumption of the EU-facilitated Belgrade-Pristina dialogue. The Commission will continue to support this process. I hope that both sides can make decisive progress in the months to come, and a comprehensive, legally binding agreement is crucial for Serbia and Kosovo to advance on their respective European path. The Commission remains committed to achieving visa liberalization for the Kosovar citizens. We know how important this issue is for the people in Kosovo. As you know, the Commission's assessment is still that Kosovo fulfills all the criteria. The Commission is ready to provide all information requested by EU member states once the issue is back on the EU Council's agenda. Meanwhile, it is of course essential for Kosovo institutions to make sure that all benchmarks continue to be met. As we have said together with Prime Minister Hoti earlier today, we are working hand in hand to convince our member states that Kosovo must get the visa liberalization. But we are not there yet. We still need to work hard, and I need the support of this House in this work. To wrap up, the past year has overall been a very dynamic and challenging one. For me, the COVID pandemic confirmed very clearly the benefits for the European Union and the Western Balkans to work together. I am pleased that with the Economic and Investment Plan, we now have a blueprint to follow. I count on Kosovo authorities to work with us so that the plan delivers swiftly. I believe it can, and I am convinced that with a determined approach and commitment to the reforms and implementation of the plan, we can create a new landscape for Kosovo and the region already in the next 4 to 5 years to come. Let us do this together. Thank you.
I nderuar komisioner për fqinësi dhe zgjerim, shkëlqësia juaj zoti Varhelyi.